Should log us in when you're ready. Oh, Adele. Adele just put gutted about not being able to get the background.
And come back.
Hello, ladies. Right, so we're going live. I'm just waiting for everybody to kind of log in. We have 13 people in so far, so I'm just going to let them carry on with that. While I just see if I can get this shared online at the same time.
How do I start this?
Trying to do it now. Sorry, guys, just bear with me. I don't know if our attendees can hear us. 1 second. Sorry, I'm not sure if they can if they
Messaged.
Yeah, they can. So they can hear us.
All right.
Reading the messages.
Sorry about this, just a little technical hitch because I'm just trying to make it go live on everything. And once we've got that sorted out, we will be totally with you. Okay. So tonight is World Book Night, and can you all hear me? Yes. Okay, tonight is World Book Night, and we are here. We are talking to Nadia Latoya, Adele Bond, and Poetic Lili. They've all been asked to give their artistic response to the book, which is taking up space, the Black Girls Manifesto. Now, we've done this event in partnership with Leicester Library Services, and you will be getting your books as well. They'll all be coming out to you as soon as possible. So make sure and hit the email I sent out. Oh, hang on. Can you still see me?
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
It went strange on my computer then. So, right. So the library have, where did I get to? Yes. So I'm going to just read out something from Marcia, who from the Highfields Library, Marcia Brown, who manages the Highfields Library, and she was in charge with getting this book in, and she's just kind of explaining why she picked this book for World Book Night. So when she read the reviews for this book, Taking Up Space, the Black Girls Manifesto to Change, she immediately thought this is a book that should be available for young women and their parents who of the child who is about to apply for university place or just starting university. The book will help Black girls explore important issues they may face going into university: diversity, studying, mental health, barriers to entry, isolation, being the only person of color. The book will help empower and encourage young women to evaluate experiences while in university or before going into university. Marcia says she wished this book was available when her daughters started university. It would have given them a better understanding of university life and helped to equip them better for the pitfalls. So I want to know just briefly, because we are going to see your artistic responses, but first of all, let's introduce you all. Who wants to go first? Nadia, do you want to go with it?
Oh, yeah, okay. Yes, as Tara said, I'm Nadia Latoya. I'm a singer-songwriter. When Tara invited me to be a part of the event, I was really enthusiastic about it because I do care a lot about supporting, you know, Black women and the struggles that we go through, having a voice about it and being able to, you know, make it something that can be helped, you know what I mean? So to see this manifesto, it's just like what Marcia was saying, it's something that really it's for university students, but I feel like a lot of Black women can relate to it. And I think it's a manifesto for us all. So that was really an exciting part of reading the book for me and exploring it and forming my response to it.
You're the singer-songwriter of the group. So
Yeah.
give us a little bit of info about your background, because I've known you for a long time, but others may not have heard of you. So tell us about you.
Well, I am from Nottingham. I've been singing and songwriting for over 10 years. I don't really know what bits you want me to say. I'm part of a duo called Melonics. We're about to have our first release. We are two women of colour who have gone through certain things that we talk about that touch on a lot of the topics that are touched on in this book. Maybe obviously not in the same way like through university, but just in other walks of life, which is why I was saying that I find it quite relatable. I just think in general, you're always going to face challenges as a Black woman, as a Black person in predominantly white spaces, but obviously there's intersectionality. So there's always going to be a unique challenge that you're going to face when you're Black and a woman, or Black and whatever the otherness is that you sort of come under. So as I was saying before, that's, even though I wouldn't say like that's strictly like what I write about, oftentimes I'll draw inspiration from those types of situations in my songwriting. So that it was just natural for me to jump at the opportunity to do this.
Okay. And Leanne, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, hi guys. I am Leanne, aka Poetic Lili. My background is working with young people, but I also write poetry and I'm a writer. Poetry is my first love. When Tara invited me to come on do this event, I was really excited because I was going through a bit of I needed a little revamp for my creativity, and I really resonate and relate and love to empower women, and that's really my ethos around my writing, is more like empowerment. Empowering young people and empowering women is my standpoint. So this book really, although it is for women for university, it resonated and it kind of woke me up, and it's almost like for young women, them like big sisters. They're like, girl, listen, this is what you have to do, and this is it, and it's going to be okay. And I just felt like, so I was just intrigued. So my poetry is more around kind of being unapologetic, like these authors are, and letting Black women know you're seen, you're heard, and you're appreciated.
Good. That's
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Let's go.
And Adele, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's Adele, and I am a dancer, but I also work alongside children also. So over the years, I've been dancing since I was about 4 years of age. So I've started as an amateur and then done professional work alongside just amateur performances. I've done musical theatre performances. When I was asked to do this book by Tara, like to look at it and create a dance, it really resonated in the sense of the whole university experience. And I think also touching on Black people overall and the culture and the things that we go through, that really stood out, because even though we're in the 21st century, you would think a lot of things have changed, but they haven't changed as much as before.
Thank
So
you.
it was a great to be able to create something on the book.
Thank you. Is that me rattling around? That I can hear feedback there. So as the audience, you guys out there, the attendees, we have a question and answers box at the bottom. If you want to ask any questions as we go along, please put it in the question and answers pot, or put it in the chat so we can get you interacting. We will also have a polling thing that I'm going to put up in a little while for you to just respond to. Just asking a few basic questions about how you felt going through university or whatsoever, because it may not be a university experience, it may be just your experience of going through life. Because one of the things that resonated with me through this book was some of those things I didn't even realize were happening. And just as females and females of color in this country, you come against it, whether it's through your work, school or university. So please feel free to respond, even if you're not a person of color. Join in, because we kind of want to see it from all perspectives. So please, join in on the polling system, make sure and ask the questions, and make sure you get involved with the chat. I think we probably about time to show our first video. Now I'm praying that this works right now, because we've had some ups and downs. I think we're live streaming through Facebook. I was hoping to get it through YouTube, but this is the first time I've done this on here, so it's all news for me, so bear with us. Be kind if I get it wrong. I'm trying. So oh, hang on. So we have Adele first.
Hi, my name is Adele and I am a dancer, and I read the book Taking Up Space, and from it I
think there's a problem with the sound, Tara.
Yeah. Have to start again.
So very impressed with that one. I think Adele did a great job, but I'll let Adele kind of talk us through. I can see you putting your questions in. We will get to them. I'll try and kind of go through if it's anything directly in to the conversation. I'll put that in at the same time, but if not, we'll try and do them at the end when we're coming to the end. So Adele, tell us how did you come to it? How did you come to that point, that dance? You're on mute, Adele.
Got it, sorry. Amateur. Right.
Also, my fault, apologies for the sound going midway. I didn't realize that if I put my sound on mute, it would mute it for everybody else. So my fault totally. We're still learning here. So, sorry, Adele, carry on.
So with the dance, I tried to get different parts of the book and incorporate it. So I was trying to show culture because of the old background of going to university and trying to fit in and finding your space as a Black woman, let alone anyone else that goes. So that's what I was trying to portray in the dance, as well as show the club life, because being a freshers and going out there meeting people, sometimes you're like, okay, you're not as comfortable as people will think you are. And there's the whole drinking aspect of university that comes with it. I also wanted to try and show like the mental health and relationships that people go through where possible, and just to thrive and be you and just show the best you, really, because as much as we are all individuals, there's so much pressure that comes with being a Black woman, and it's mentioned within the book also. So yeah, that's basically what I tried to get across.
Any elements of the book that really kind of you went, you know what, I've been there?
With the book, I'd say definitely the university experience of being the one or the two Black girls. To start with, I was the only one in my year, but then I had to take a year out because I had a little one, and then I went back and there was two of us. So when we actually collaborated and did a piece of work, for us to be told, oh, that's a bit different, and then have it not put in to the show, that for me was offensive. So yeah, that kind of resonated with me when it came to putting this dance together and doing it.
So did you feel that you just didn't understand culturally where you were coming from with the dance, or just didn't understand you?
I think it was the whole dance routine, because they said, oh, that's a bit here, there and everywhere, but it wasn't. And to us, like we said, we were just trying to show some culture within musical theatre as well as dance. So for us, we were both like, okay, what's their point? But we know we did an amazing job. So that's what we had to take from it in the end, and just accept the fact that obviously they didn't want to put that into the show.
Okay. How did that make you feel as a student?
It was heartbreaking at the time, because I'm quite sensitive when it comes to things like that, especially when you know you put in so much time and effort. And I wasn't just a normal, like, your everyday student with no other responsibilities. I had responsibilities alongside. So for me, to put in that much effort and then have it like basically just ignored and dismissed was quite.
Did any kind of reason why it was dismissed? Did they kind of?
Me and the girl that was involved, we personally think it was just down to the whole Black culture, but we're not exactly sure, because they never actually said that, because obviously if they had, then we could have took it further.
Where did you go? Where did you go to university?
I studied at Colchester Institute, which is part of University of Essex.
Okay. Any questions from you guys?
I was going to say, that was a beautiful piece. I haven't seen it yet, so that was lovely. And I feel like you kind of took us on a journey with the music choice. And I like how you ended on thriving with having a dream. So do you feel like, in terms of your uni experience, did you feel like towards the end you found yourself, or do you feel like there's a positive, because how you ended on within the dance aspect, it ended in a positive, and that's what I love to kind of, you took us through that journey. To tell us a bit about that kind of journey of uni as you being the only Black woman in that space.
I think that overall, with the whole experience, even though certain things weren't involved, like so my dance routine wasn't involved, I still was able to do my acting, which showed the Black culture, but then it had that other person there next to you, which was then like her, but it was a comedy. So that even that sketch, that went down really well. So I think if that had been, then I would have been like, okay. But for me, the whole aspect of getting through uni, like with a child as well as being Black and having the extra things around you, like that really empowered me and made me think, yeah, I can do this. Because obviously you go through phases where you end up crying and it's just an emotional stuff. But yeah, I just wanted the dance also to show that we are powerful, no matter what we're going through. We are able to do the best that we can, and we should support one another where we can possibly as well.
Definitely.
Did you, because I know in the book they kind of had to form an alliance with like the ACS, to kind of find that place and that sense of belonging as Black women. Did you find that? Did you find, because I know, in terms of like you doing the theatre as well and the dance element, us being creatives, that's our safe space, our outlet, So did you find that you had a safe space and an outlet, or was it purely when you was able to kind of do your dance?
We didn't really have a personal space to go to. So yeah, it was more through just being creative. So when I dance, sing, act, anything that's creative or inspirational, or even just being around children and working in that sort of environment, that just frees everything, and you don't look at anything else. You're just in your own bubble and your mind space is clear. So yeah.
It, girl, that's it. But you done it. That's it, man. And again, like you said, it's that Black girl magic, man. You can't fake it. It's that black girl magic. It's in our DNA, baby. It really is.
One
it
of the
really
things
is.
that I realized personally when I went to university is that I thought, I thought I was normal because I grew up with all the people that are just like me, and I didn't see any different. But then going into university, it was like, oh, so okay, I'm actually not like these lot here. There is a difference, and I didn't. I felt like it really amplified it. Did you feel was university probably the first time, maybe the first time that those cultural differences were amplified in that kind of way going into university, or even kind of going into a workplace? Because if you say start working at the council, it's the same kind of environment. Would you say that, or am I just talking?
No, definitely had that, especially in my first year, and someone saying, oh, you do know you can drink the water from here. And I was like, yeah, I know, I'm born here, I'm raised and born here, so I do know what the water is. So yeah, that happened whilst at university, and that was my first ever real racist even experience. I don't think I'd really faced much before that, because we was brought up in a kind of, I'd say, cultural area, but some people were like, no, it's not that cultural. But I just feel like we've got more mix here than where I went to study at the time. And even within work, you don't see, this was pointed out by even students and stuff, they say you don't see many Black teachers or many Black TAs or anything like that. Like, they want that within the environment as well, just to influence them and bring them up. Because seeing someone of the same race as you is inspirational. So I think a couple of them were a bit like, well, why aren't you higher up in the roles? Why aren't you doing this? Like, you're capable of doing that. And it was like, yeah, we know, but it's getting there.
Okay. Nadia, you got anything to ask? Any questions you want to pose to?
I was gonna ask, there's a part in the book that I think it's quite towards the end actually, where it was asking the contributors if they felt like it was worth it, and I just wondered if it felt like it was worth it. The things that the challenges that you had to face, was it worth, your experience and what you got out of university in the end?
I'd say it was, just because I made some amazing friends of all cultures, and I'm still in touch with them still to this day. And it just was the whole experience overall. It's given me the further skills that I've got. So yeah, 100% worth it.
So we have a couple of questions in the chat box. One's come from Carol that says, while reading this excellent book, I kept wondering how similar your experience of alienation and code switching were to the experiences of working class students. I don't want to diminish the experience being described at all, just would like to know your opinions.
So in terms, sorry, I'm going to get you to abbreviate.
Well, she's asking if the experience of feeling alienated or having to kind of change, for your situation, for your environment, would you, as a Black person, would you think that that's the same experience that a working class white person would have? And what's your opinion on that?
Personally, I don't think that they would have that experience. I feel that because we're more like, okay, we're a minority, we feel like everyone's looking at us like we have to fit in. Whereas for them, they probably just walked into the room and it's okay, they feel comfortable. But then there's no one that's not, like, they're not the minority, so they won't feel any type of way. So I feel that more of a coloured, like, race background, you would feel like you, kind of need to fit into that space that you're entering into.
Okay, anybody else?
I think there'll be similarities, but I think it would be completely different levels. Like, I can see how, it comes back to these intersections, doesn't it? Like, it's still, class is still a barrier, but I think there's just no way that you can compare it to the double barrier of being a woman. Well, triple, because one of the girls in the book was from a working class background. It's just that she got the opportunity to go to this Russell Group university. So that's a barrier. Working class, she's Black and she's a woman. And if that was an experience that could be likened to that of a white person who was working class, I don't think that we'd have all the contention. Like, there would be more understanding of our position, I think. Otherwise we would just be having this issue with the institutions rather than also between people who are our peers. So,
I think they kind of talked about that in the book, because they did say that there was a few people that had come from high class backgrounds and had gone to private schools, and the class thing, whether you're Black, you are still in the working class just being Black, because people just expect you to be in that bracket. And I think also, sorry, Leanne, I'll let you talk in a minute.
That's fine. I'm just agreeing.
But I think with class, being working class, you can change that. I mean, you can change your accent. You can elevate your working standards or whatsoever, but you can't change being Black. You walk through a door, you're always Black. You can't change that. So it's a totally different kind of beast to me. But I'll hand that over to Leanne.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was literally going to say that. I was going to say, when you're working class, you can work your way up. That's what you aspire to. A lot of the times you work your way up. But, when you're Black, you're automatically, this is who we are. You're Black, and that, and me even having 2 daughters to raise 2 children, and, I have to now raise 2 Black women, and I have to teach them to love themselves differently, extra hard, and automatically they're gonna get the questions of, can I touch your hair, or why is your hair like, and it's it's just different. It's just different, and we're not trying to say the struggle that Carol's talking about is not a struggle, or that we don't feel you and that we don't empathize, but it's totally different brackets, totally different.
I think one of the points that the book made as well is like this thing of being profiled. So like I was saying, even though there might be some similarities between someone who's working class going into that elite institution and someone who's Black, one of the biggest ones that you just kind of said is that we get judged as soon as we're seen, because we can't hide. You can hide that you're working class for a little bit. You can't hide that you're Black ever. You can try and talk posh for a little bit as a white working class person. I mean, you can try and talk a certain way and maybe try and get your knowledge up on certain things for only so long. I think that would work. Or you've at least gained some foothold, some ground, do you know what I mean? Before you might get outed as being working class, but we're getting judged from the start, preconceptions. Yeah. So in that way, it's going to be a completely different experience.
Like there's a stigma that follows you.
Exactly.
Okay, I think there was one question which is directed to Adele here, with what part of the book did you relate to the most?
I'd say I related to the university experience mostly. I think whilst reading it, I was that shocked because I was like, Mom. So I was kind of like reading, but then telling my mom about what I was reading at the same time, because I was like, oh my gosh, like even still to this day, and this is after my experience, this is happening, or people are experiencing this. And I think for me, that definitely was kind of shocking a bit. Okay. So I related to that.
I'm going to play another video now, and I'm going to introduce the absolutely fabulous Poetic Lili. She always is able to pull the hairs up on the back of my arms, so and has done an absolutely fabulous job as usual. So I'm going to hand it over to her. We have more questions coming in the question box, so keep them coming. We will get to them.
There was no seat at the table, so you used your creativity.
Oh, hang on, sorry, I
You
apologise.
created your own. Hi guys, I'm Poetic Lili, and today I'm going to do a poem for you. What inspired me to write the poem was where the ladies spoke about being seen and unheard as Black women in places that not necessarily welcome us or not necessarily built for us. I really resonated with their strength and their testimony, so this is in honor of them. Black woman, take up your space. Secure your rightful place that you have so greatly earned. We're tired of being seen and not heard, yearning to simply be treated as equal. No longer are we participating in this mockery sequel. Long gone are the days where we're pleading for change. We're demanding it. We're adjusting our crowns and getting down to some empress action. Retreating and refusing to accept defeat. The power is in me, for I'm every woman. Yet we remain unseen, unheard, until there's an atrocity. Then we're expected to stand and unite in the name of femininity. But what about our Black women? What about our justices, our travesties? What about Blessing? Why was her death not deemed a mystery? Why was her death not mainstreamed and deemed a mystery? See, this is where it becomes sticky. We're exhausted of repeating the same story. The Black woman being the bottom of the pack, portrayed as angry, aggressive, always ready to attack. When really, our Black girl magic is unmatched. We hold the worries of the world on our backs. Yet, we ooze beauty, strength, and grace. Black woman, it's time to take up your space. You belong. You belong in any boardroom, any uni. You deserve the life of luxury. You're not a gold digger if you know what you deserve. You have a natural essence, girl. That can't be rehearsed. I'm so proud of you for making a stand, for never giving up, for believing you're worthy of love, for paving the way for the young queens that wake up and fear the day. It's really the fearlessness for me. There was no seat at the table, so you used your creativity. You created your own masterpiece. See, you're really the blueprint, the top of the league. I celebrate you. I applaud you. I am you. So yes, I'm rooting for every Black woman. I want you to win. Take up your space. Come on through. I'm rooting for every Black woman. I want you to win. Take up your space and come on through. Thank you.
So, Leanne.
Let me just sip my wine, girl.
So good.
Tell us then, how did you come to that absolutely amazing poem? What were the bits of the book that really kind of went, yeah, I'm connecting?
You know what, from when I read it, I felt these women, their frustration. I felt their frustration, I felt their anger, but then I also felt how far they've come. So I just want to say, this is the quote that I got from that really touched me. You feel invisible when you're left off the syllabus. These women were stepping into a place where the system wasn't really built for them. These women were coming into a space where they felt alienated. They didn't feel beautiful. They didn't even feel wanted by their counterparts. They didn't feel wanted by the men that were predominantly white. And they also felt that the Black men was more predominantly looking at the white women. They felt that the Black men was more accepted because of their sports or whatever. There's just so many things that they went through, and I just wanted to celebrate them. I really just wanted to say, like, we see you, and you, although you felt invisible, you created a space. You know, one of the girls were president of the ACS. They got this, they've done this Blacktism, and they done a lot of forgetting my words now, activism, there we go. But they called it Blacktism. That's why I'm getting tongue twisted, guys, in the book. And it was about getting an artifact that belongs to Nigeria back to Nigeria's rightful owner. Let me just cheers to that, because they managed to do it after a lot of years. And it's just about that's growth, that's showing, you know, who you're building strength, or you're building character by fighting for your rights. Although you felt unseen, although you felt unbeautiful, you created a place where you could feel beautiful in your events that you created, and going to make sure that you're going to the right people, and just being a voice, man. And I felt like I resonated with a lot of stuff, and we're using the word resonate a lot because we do relate as Black women. And I can even take it to the workplace. I mentioned earlier about, can I touch your hair? No, you can't touch my hair. And I've had that question. And you do, majority of the places that you go to when you go to work, you are kind of a minority. You know, I live in Leicester, so I am going to be the only other Black person, or, you know, in the majority of places that I work. So it was almost, and that code switch and stuff, you have to put on a certain voice. I'm just me anyway, so you're going to love me or you're not going to love me. And majority of the time, luckily, I'm blessed that people take to me. But that's definitely come from a place of knowing who you are as a Black woman. And I have to big up my mum for that, because from a young age, she kind of instilled that into me, and being proud of who I am. And when I read the book, I just felt like, yes, women, yes, this is so, and I said, my daughter's turning 15, I said, Destiny, you have to read this, because when she kind of steps into that space, things like this say, I'm worthy, I'm capable, I'm worthy. They touch on sisterhood, forming a sisterhood. And they also touch on, you don't necessarily have to be in a certain space and be in a certain sisterhood just because you're Black. So there is the realities of it, do you know what I mean? So it doesn't have to be, oh, because I'm Black, I have to be a part of this thing as a Black woman, even though I don't necessarily agree with what they do and what they say. So although they touch on a lot of positives, they touch on a lot of realism as well, that what happens in uni, even relationships and raving, everything. So I just think it's really important. So I talk a lot, sorry guys, but so my poem was more just kind of bigging them up and saying, yes, I see you, I feel you, and you're fearless, and you're creating this book that will just help empower women that are gonna come after you, and big up yourself, realistically.
I mean, a couple of points, because first of all, you mentioned you bigged up your mum. She's put a message in the chat about how proud she is of you and that how powerful.
Learn from the best.
Yeah. And secondly, I wanted to kind of, because what you were saying and the things that you were resonating with, because she was talking about going to church and finding other spaces where she felt that kind of nurturing that she was needing.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, how and I think some of that come out in your poem and what you were talking about. Did that resonate in with yourself, you know, thinking about spaces where you find safe spaces, you know, if you're in a workplace, you have to find that place where you can just be yourself, you know, because sometimes it is like, you know, you're coming in as you can't be yourself, you can't you can't react the way you react to your friends, so you have to find that space with just
it's true
you feel a little bit comfortable with.
And I would often kind of find some sort of sisterhood, and you would kind of, I think when you see like, okay, so if there's one other Black women, you kind of give yourself a look like, hey girl, do you know what I mean? Like you can automatically be like, and for me, I changed my hair a lot. That's the main thing I used to get in the workplace. I changed my hair a lot, and it got to a point was, no, it's not my hair. Yes, I wear weaves. Now, can we move?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think you have to kind of assert yourself, but not in an arrogant way, but just to be like, I'm different. We're all different. Let's love each other for our differences. It's not even, I don't want you to tell me you don't see race. See my race. But love my race and accept my race, and let's learn from each other and let's love on each other. You know, it's not about we don't see race, we're all one race. We are all one race, but embrace my race, embrace my, you know, let's embrace women as a whole, down to chocolate melanin to rosy cheeks. Let's just, do you know what I mean? And that's what my standpoint is. Do you know what, when you're saying about she found the solace in church, what I liked about it is that they would kind of get together and make their jollof. Yes. They mentioned about cooking their food, and you could always resonate and come together with food, man.
You also mentioned something about the expectations that because we are Black, we must all like each other and we must all like the same things. I mean, I kind of like that in my work realm, you know, when I'm talking to people from the museums or wheresoever, they often think, you know, well, you're Black, so there's a Black person in there, so it's going to be all right. It's like, well, no, it doesn't. You know,
or you have to like something in particular, or you know, oh, that's a bit different, or you know, I have to apologize. And I think
sorry, I'm just apologizing.
Sorry.
See me blowing my nose every minute. Today has just been hay fever nightmare, and it's just knocked me off my feet, and so my nose is running, but I'm still here and I'm fine. So I carry on anyway. I'm explaining.
Oh, no, that's fine. Yeah, because I think even one of the ladies, the authors, touched on being into something that wasn't kind of stereotypically. What was it? I think it was engineering or something like that. So yeah, even that's being touched on, not to feel ashamed if you like different stuff, you know, and yourself, and standing your ground, even with your parents, guys. We know you know how Black parents are, especially from like if you're an African background. They was touching on, because these girls are from Africa, want you to either do law or medicine. So she kind of was able to have that open dialect and say, actually, this is what I want to do. And I know that will help so many other young women that are like, actually, I'm going to uni, but am I pleasing my parents? Am I pleasing myself? This is what I really want to do. Do you know what I mean? So there's so many gems in the book. I did want to, there's one thing that she mentioned about Black men not really speaking up for us. And I thought, okay, I wouldn't let's not generalize. Let's not generalize, because there's a lot of Black men that do. Because she said, don't expect for Black men to kind of have your back, and I don't think that's 100% true. But apart from that, yeah, I think if you work with or just know any young women of color, this is definitely a good book for them to read. Even yourselves, just to kind of remind yourself of the journey that you've come through, or just to kind of, it kind of gave me a little kick up the bum. It gave me a kick up the bum for being the manifesto for change, and put a little spring in my step to be like, actually, yeah.
So any questions from
I could go on, guys.
That's okay, that's what we want, is discussion, so it's fine, you chat. So any from you two?
Whilst writing, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. I just, yeah.
So whilst writing your poem, did any particular part actually resonate with yourself, or was you just basing it fully on what you'd read and society?
The part that helped me, because when I write, I try and go into what they're feeling. I try and go into who, do you know what I mean? So I wanted to go into the authors, and the part, it was more the unseen, the seen but not heard, and not feeling like they belong. And always being the one that has to work extra hard to be seen and extra hard to be loved, and and as a Black woman, I was like, okay, I get you, and this is where we're at. But I didn't want to touch on all the kind of negatives. I wanted to celebrate them. I wanted to say, we see you and we hear you and we got you. Yeah.
I love
Definitely positive.
I love the part in your poem where you say that we are you, because I do feel like, even though the book rightly says we're not a monolith, even though we have many shared experiences, we are all different and we do all have our unique perspectives, but we do have that solidarity as well, because
that's it.
Things do affect us the same way. So yeah, we might go to Oxford or Cambridge or whatnot, but we are you and we see you, and we have chosen you. We want to see each other.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
I think that your poem really put that across so beautifully. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
But I think there's been a lot of enjoyment from that poem. We've had quite a few people just saying well done and wow, and they really enjoyed the poem. Your mum, of change do you feel you had to evolve in a space of work? Excuse me.
I can't hear, sorry,
it's me, I got choked up. How many personalities of change do you feel you had to evolve in a space of work, etc.? Did you have to use to fit in various situations? Do you understand?
I think everyone has to do a certain amount of like code switching. I think you do, but again, I think from quite a early space on into any workplace I've been, this is Leanne. Yeah, this is Leanne.
Matthew has said, Matthew is from the library service. So hello, Matthew. He said, did you think the book did a good job of talking about the range of intersectional prejudices? And if it did it show the very specific issues faced by Black women?
Yeah, no, it really did. Like I said, from the whole range of just even trying to get more positive Black things in terms of on the curriculum from the outside space to the roommate space, to where you're living, to in the lecture room, to raving, to being a part of the uni society, to being a part of trying to be seen. So the whole range, it was a range of things. So I think it did. I really do. I think it went, when it can be too much for somebody, it wasn't that. I think it was nicely done. It was an easy read. It was something that young women can really relate to, I feel like.
Definitely. I think about myself. I think that question was really to all three of you. So if you can all take that.
Nadia.
You're on mute, Nadia.
Sorry. I was saying, yeah, I think they did a good job of showing the range of intersectionality. They showed, well, as best that they could, because obviously they were talking about it through the lens of a Black woman, but made comparisons to it, the experience of the Black man who was at university, the Black mixed race man that was at university, and they had entries from non-binary Black people. So they did a good job of covering a range of perspectives and how they all kind of, intersect with each other. I guess that's why intersectionality is the word that they use, because there are things that are going to be similar and things that are going to be very different. I think I agree with you on what Lili said about, was it that they were saying that not to expect, and I kind of felt that. I did kind of feel where they were coming from. I do agree with you that it's not everyone, but I do also empathize with them in that I feel like not just Black men, but anybody with any privilege should be doing more for those they can see are disadvantaged in that area. That's the whole, I feel like that's a thread that's running through the book a lot. Do you know what I mean?
So do you feel that they should use their voice more when you say like people of privilege? Do you feel like they can use their voice more to kind of speak up for, because it's like, okay, we see you, but are we gonna not say anything? Are we just gonna kind of, we see you, oh girl, I feel you? Or is it, we see you, what can I do?
Yeah.
Wait, how can I play my part? Because me, I'm quite fortunate in terms of like my white girlfriends. They're very much, did I say woke? I would say woke, but very much of a thing of, I don't just empathize with you. How can I understand you more? How can I'm not a Black woman. I can never be in your shoes or walk in your shoes to totally understand, but what can I do to teach myself and,
I think that makes
help
with
the cause.
It makes such a difference.
And that makes exactly that makes such a difference.
I think acknowledging your privilege is the first step, and that's for everybody, because no matter where you are, you will have some sort of privilege. It's just some people go further than others.
You did a TED talk on this not so long ago. So
sorry,
you did a TED talk on this not so long ago. You'll have to but about privilege and privilege as being a light-skinned Black woman, because we do have a privilege and we have to use that to help and assist others that best. So identify with a lot of the issues that others have, but I know darker skin have it worse than me. I've kind of, I on certain elements. So there is a difference, and we need to understand our individual privileges and how we use those to work together and make it better for everybody. I totally agree with that.
I think you basically just answered for me, Tara. That's basically my thinking. And I feel like that, to bring it full circle, I feel like that's something that a lot more men could do. Do you know what I mean? We all know that
Yeah.
the scale is tipped in the favor of men in the society that we live in. If our counterparts have got some sort of leeway that they can see that we're not getting, then it would be helpful for them to use that to speak up for us. I agreed with that. Rather than sitting in that privilege and enjoying the benefits of it and ignoring how they've come by that privilege and what it means for people who are disadvantaged at the same time.
So
if where there's privilege, there's going to be disadvantage. So you have to look at how that's what part you're playing in that, you know.
Somebody's put an extra part of that question in. Is it about speaking up for, or about supporting people to speak for themselves and using privilege to amplify people into doing that?
The amplification, definitely. I think if that person's not in a room to speak for themselves, then, and I'm taking this basically as a quote out of the book, really, they made a good point that if you're in rooms where somebody who doesn't have the same privileges as you can be, then you can use your privilege to support and uplift those people. If you're in a room with that person and they are trying to explain, or they're trying to dismantle the privilege that's holding them back, then you can be a support system. So not necessarily speak over them, but you can back them up.
And it's
for them. It's not about speaking for people, but just backing them up. Be in solidarity with people.
And white voices get heard louder than black voices, and that, you know, we have to kind of recognize that, you know, a white voice will be heard louder than a black voice. If a black voice is saying, look, I don't accept this, there is that, you get talked down, or, you know, it was banter, we didn't mean it like that, or you know, there's a million different being aggressive, you're taking it the wrong way. But if it comes from somebody like themselves, it's a totally different conversation. There doesn't seem to be that kind of element of outrage to a certain extent, as we know what we're seeing at the moment. You know, we can't tell somebody that you didn't appreciate what they did and found it a little bit on the racist side, you know, even if you try and cover it and like make it sound good, there it's like, I'm not a racist, and gone into turmoil, when you're kind of like, well, actually, I just really wanted to bring that to your attention. Don't think there was any need for you to go on that, you know, to go completely over there, but you need to realize what you said may have been said in a way that I didn't appreciate. So
yeah, I agree with that. And they also, in the book as well, I was going to say, like, because one of them's with a white guy, so she touched on her relationship briefly as well, and she just said how she appreciates the fact that he makes that extra effort to understand, like, say, where she's coming from, what she's facing, because likewise, he's not in her shoes, but then again, he'll speak out for her should he need to, because that's their relationship, and he chose to be with her.
Okay, I'm going to go to Nadia's one now, because time's ticking away. It's a brilliant conversation, so thank you very much. And audience, I can see your comments and questions coming in as well. Keep them coming, we will get to them, but I want to make sure Nadia gets her talk as well before we get quite close to the end. So this is the fabulous Nadia Latoya, who's come over from Nottingham, and here is what her response.
Hi, my name is Nadia Latoya, and I'm a singer-songwriter, and I was invited to write a song as a response to the book Taking Up Space. And the part that touched me most about the book was the letter to Fresh Yourself, so I decided that would be my inspiration for my song, which I've also named Take Up Your Space, and it goes a little bit like this. within you. They don't wanna see you rise. The thing is, they don't realize you were already placed on high. On high. Always remember, you are actively walking in purpose, living in abundance. Nothing is bigger than the God that's in you. Let no one treat you less than the God that's in you. You chose to dream. You chose to be the fullest expression of your potential, and no one can take that from you, and no one can take that from you. Always remember, you are actively walking in purpose, living in abundance. Nothing is bigger than the God that's in you. Let no one treat you less than the God that's in you. And when you feel things are rough, then you feel like you're lacking control, know that joy is yours always to choose. Let everything else go. Choose to be in the present moment and know that you are loved. And no matter what, you are worthy of everything that's good. That is good. That's good. Thank you.
Not sure why it's still going. 1 minute.
Hi, my name is Nadia Latoya, and I'm a singer-songwriter. And I was invited to write a song as a response.
We were doing so well as well.
Oh, her voice, man.
Now, also, Leah brought to my attention that she's not been able to get in. So I'm wondering whether people might have not been able to get into the session. So we'll have to apologise afterwards. I don't know whether there was like a time limit that you had to attend. We'll look into it. So hopefully it is running through Facebook as well. I did try and get it through the YouTube. It's all a learning curve. So who's here is here, and we're so happy to have you. But Nadia, that was great. I love that. I love that song. I think it was brilliant. So you've mentioned that it was a response to the letter, but would you like to tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so the opening chapter of the book was a letter to Ore's freshest self. And I thought, you know what, I wanted to make sure that I that I got everything that I wanted to say out. So I wrote a little paragraph, so I'm just going to read it. So my response to Taking Up Space, the Black Girl Manifesto for Change, is inspired by the opening chapter of A Letter to My Future Self. I wanted to capture the sentiment I felt from the passage, which I interpreted as an attempt to encourage Black women who will follow in Ore's footsteps. I felt the letter summarized and encapsulated the essence of the whole book, and that the moral thread, although cautionary, is also meant to encourage and affirm Black women's desire to take up space in these places. My song was written with the intention of serving as a series of affirmations for the listener, because there was a part in the book where she spoke about leaning on her spirituality. And I thought that was something that I could relate to. Like, when things get hard for me, I often like go within and sort of, you know, try and ground myself. And something's coming up on my screen. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, it's me, because I'd forgotten to put in we have a polling section.
Oh, sorry.
Coming at. I didn't know it came onto the screen like that.
That's okay. Sorry, it just distracts me a little bit, but I'm back.
So
But
carry
yeah,
on.
so I really resonated with the part that they wrote about how like just finding a church in the area to go to, even though I'm not really like a church goer like that, but just any type of spirituality, being able to lean on that, and just paralleling that to the idea that we all have the same life force energy going through us that some people would call God. And I feel like the fact that you have that in you, that alone gives you the right to take up a space anywhere you want to be. So that's the angle that I decided to come at it from. Just not letting the lyrics in the song basically, let no one treat you less than the God that's within you.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's for anyone, but especially Black women. We need affirmations because we have a lot of things against us. And I wanted to focus on something positive, like what Lili was saying, how she wanted to focus on the positives of the book. There's a lot of things in there that could potentially put somebody off even trying. However, I don't feel like that was the intention of the book. I feel like the intention of the book was to be like, this is just so that you've got the cheat code, to use my friend's saying, the cheat code to taking this path in life. And sometimes it's going to get hard. So my response was really about, in those times when you get hard, if this song did reach the ears of people, you know, who were taking that step, then I wanted the song to serve as, in those hard times, affirmations that they could repeat to themselves that would strengthen them. Do you know what I mean? Strengthen their spirit.
I think it's really interesting that you pointed out that there were aspects of the book that you could read and think, you know what, I'm just not going to try. But I think as Black people in this country, we know, I'm older than you guys, so I know we were always taught that you had to do better, you had to be that much better, and I know that goes through. And I maybe didn't the negatives, we know, we walk through them, we see them, and as growing up we can't avoid them.
Exactly.
So I didn't kind of see it as you know, something that made me not want to strive forward. I kind of made it kind of resonated with me as, okay, you know, I'm not the only one that's fighting these battles. I'm you know, there's a lot of others that are going through the same things as me, and there was a bit more, and it enabled me to understand it more and it a bit more. So I'm interested that you say that you felt that there was more of a negative.
No, I agree with you. I feel like what you've just described is the spirit in which the book was intended. Or someone of my temperament might have, you know, might let some of the negative things sort of seep in. So I can see it from that perspective. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes I feel like in any walk of life, there might be things that make you feel like if your confidence is not all the way there, then the fear of what could go wrong could debilitate you from doing the thing that you want to do. And I've tried to do my response to say, don't let those things deter you, because if you remember this, that you are capable of anything, that you are deserving of everything that anybody else is deserving, that you're just entitled to be in that space as anybody else. If you remember that, and if you remember that you can choose to experience joy at any time, you don't have to succumb to the oppression, the microaggressions, those things. You can just choose to be like, you know what? No, I'm stepping away because I didn't have to be treated like this. Or you can fight. But the point is that you've got choice, you know? And yeah, I was just looking at it from the perspective of when the going does get tough and you need encouragement. There were times in the book where they talked about feeling quite alone and not really having anyone to turn to, even sometimes not thinking to turn to their family sometimes, you know what I mean? And then having to actually actively be like, I think there was one point when she said she went home and her mum could just see in her face how physically tired and exhausted she was. And she was like, you know what, it's you're just the fact that you've done it, just the fact that you've got in is enough. I'm proud of you. Don't let the pressure get on top. Do you know what I mean? Or don't feel pressured by me then. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you put extra layers of pressure on yourself thinking that it's coming from somewhere else, but actually it's actually coming from, you're projecting that, thinking that's what somebody wants from you. But in reality, it's all within. So you can, I was just trying to do my response from a place of choice and of knowing that you can just take a minute and decide what you want.
Yeah. No, it's really kind of poignant part to take from that as well. I like the explanation of that. And I'm shocked knowing you that you are such a confident person, and I'm quite shocked that you're not confident, because I couldn't get up there and just grab a mic and sing to people. I'm like, you did my voice anyway, but
you're confident. You're running this whole event, and I think it's something that we work on, isn't it? We have to work on these things in ourselves. Say that again, sorry.
Not carrying me. It's you're not the ones that make me look good. So you know. It's
a team effort. We're all supporting each other, aren't we? I think confidence is a very funny thing, because people can look at you and think that you're confident, but they don't know the work that it's took for you to be able to present yourself in whatever way they have, or what internal narrative, what internal dialogue is going on for you to amp yourself up. And this is where I'm coming from. Like you have to, there's already so much unkindness on the outside. This song is the kindness that you need to give to yourself in order to make it through those times where your professors are acting ignorant, like they don't know what they're saying is off key, or when some drunken wife is telling you that you're pretty for a Black girl, or you know, when you're having to fight the powers that be because they're trying to tell you that some stolen artifacts can't be looked after by the people that created it in the first place. You're going to need to draw strength sometimes, you know. So yeah, so another part of the book, so I said that the Freshers letter was an inspiration, but also the part about self-care was a big inspiration for me, because that's a part that I feel like the affirmations play.
I just wanted to kind of take on that, because one of the things they really highlighted in the book was mental health, and how all these kind of microaggressions around you, and you know, feeling that you've got to be better than the rest, and you've got to work harder than the rest, and you've got to do this, how that affects your mental health, and if that has ever kind of had any of you guys as you've gone through life.
Absolutely, several times, and this is why I chose the perspective that I chose, because every time I've faltered, it's my spirituality that has lifted me up and allowed me to get back to the self that I know. And I have faltered many times, and sometimes it has been because of, you know, I remember being at one workplace, I won't name it, but I was a supervisor of someone who was a little bit overbearing, and they overstepped the mark with one of our superiors. But instead of that person who had authority to speak to that person directly, speaking to them, they came and they basically told me a new one. And I just feel like you never know. This is one of the problems with the way racism is these days. It's very insidious. You don't know if somebody's just being a certain way because that's their personality, or if they're doing it to you because they think they can do it to you, because they think you need them because of the color of your skin. But I feel like I've never ever seen this person treat anybody else in the organization the way that they treated me. And I really did have to just I was left speechless. The way that the person spoke to me with such disregard, I just couldn't even say anything. And every time I think about situations like that where I've been put in an awkward position because of somebody treating me a certain way, in a way that I instinctively feel like it's because of my race, and I don't speak up and use my voice to correct them or to defend myself, it leaves me feeling chipped away at. And when that's something it can either be like really overt, like it was in that situation, or sometimes it can just be a daily grind. When you're being ground down on like that every day in so many different circumstances, that can leave you feeling in a pit. Do you know what I mean? It can lead, you don't even realize that it's contributing to the detriment of your mental health until you like literally crumble, and then you have to deep everything that you went through to wonder how you got there. You know,
with speaking out, do you feel like you can't do it because once again it is that aggression of because you're Black, people will see it as you being aggressive? Or
no, so I'd like to think that if things come up now, I could find my voice, but to be honest, I feel like it's conditioning. I'm just conditioned to feel like I feel like I've been in this position many times from a very young age, because when I was about 6, I moved to the countryside and I was the only Black person in my entire school. So I've been faced with that position over and over and over again many times from a very young age. And I think you just learn to assimilate, because it's part of human nature to do what you need to do to survive. So part of the assimilation is it's just thinking twice before you actually say anything. Do you know what I mean? And I'm non-confrontational by nature anyway. So I always tend to do the thing that's going to lead to the least confrontation. So I'm really having to actively and intentionally think about the interactions that I'm having and decide, actually, no, I am going to voice my opinion. I am going to make this person take accountability for what they're saying to me, how they're making me feel, make them see why it's problematic. And I feel like books like this is the reason why I'm thinking about and I'm able to find the words, the vocabulary to do that now. Hopefully, should I come into I have come into situations and I have kind of tended to say things now, but sometimes I still get caught off guard, you know? And the more I read things like this, the more it helps me to articulate myself in those situations. So yeah, I feel like going forward, it's oh no, we're not going to be doing that. This is, you know.
I was going to say, if you've got time quickly, I wrote something on mental health, and I said, obviously because it is very important, we shouldn't drive ourselves obviously to fit in for others. We need to do what we enjoy and fight for what it is that we want in life, because it takes a lot of weight off your shoulders and it's less expectation, really. So it's just, thrive and be your better self.
Definitely, that's a great one to end on. But we are right up. I think there's about 2 minutes left, but there was a couple of questions in the chat that I wanted to just do you think that the library should make sure they have books like this on their shelves, and there are any others you would urge us to buy? That's from the library service there.
Absolutely.
I think to be honest, if I can just back up here, Marcia Brown at the Highfields Library has an amazing collection of books on Black novels, Black history. She's really created a good collection up there. And if you're in any doubt, go over to the Highfields Library, have a look over there, ask for Marcia. She might tell me off for putting a name out there. Sorry, Marcia. But the collection is amazing. Every time I go in there, I see books that I want to read and I want to see more. So yeah, that was one of the questions. I've just answered that for you, sorry. And this is beautiful, Nadia. I'm so proud of you. Somebody's saying, wow, lots of beautiful Nadias. Adele, love your dancing, your expression. I'm trying to see if there was a question. There's just lots of chat, just saying how great you guys were or have been tonight. I'm really impressed with the conversation. I think that, let's see if there's any more questions here that I've missed off. No, but there was one from me here. When in a minority situation, do you feel that you are forced to speak up for your entire ethnic group?
Sometimes there is that, but at the same time, it's like we're all different. So when you've got someone that's kind of placing you all in the same bracket, they need to realize that we're not all the same. We're all different, and even though our skin color is the same or varies, at the end of the day, we're each individual person, and that's what they should look at us at. So sometimes we do feel the need, though, just to back our sisters or brothers, because it's like, excuse me, who are you talking to, sort of thing. But yeah, I don't know how the others feel.
I think sometimes I don't know if it's the pressure of others or if it's an internal pressure, but sometimes you do feel like everyone's looking at you to have the answers, and it's like, I don't even know how we got here, so I don't know what you expect me to say. Yeah, and sometimes you can. It's like when in the book when they were talking about how they would be talking about something that related to Black people in some way, and then everybody in the lecture would turn and look at her because she's the only Black person. It's like it just seems to draw attention to you in a very awkward way.
Yeah, and you don't have all the answers.
No,
it's like, we don't know. It's not created this.
I feel like I was saying about these books, I feel like the vocabulary is only just becoming widespread enough and available recently, in recent years, you know what I mean, to be able to, things like microaggressions, intersectionality, they're not words that I feel like I had when I was young, growing up, to explain what was happening to me or what I was going through or how how I feel I'm placed in society. Like, it was very hard to find the words to describe what was happening, other than whatever was happening did not feel good, you know. So to be expected to explain everything, that's it. It's a pressure.
I wouldn't say explain everything, but I definitely feel obliged to speak up, and I don't mind. I naturally kind of carrying that weight on my shoulders, and will continue to do so. Again, the thing is though, and they mentioned it in the book, the BME, that don't sit right with my spirit. It really doesn't sit right with my spirit, because we're different. You're going too far now. That BME, that needs to go, because my story is different from somebody else that's non-white story. But in terms of feeling the pressure to speak up for every Black person, the game's the game, and I'm gonna speak on it.
We need people like you, because we do, honestly. There's some people who are built for it, and I'm here for them, and I'm here to support them in any way that I can. But personally, the way I feel comfortable speaking about the issues is through my art, because that's the medium that I'm most comfortable.
100%.
You know,
100%.
I feel like you're very gifted because you've got the ability to do it on the fly as well. But for me, I like to be able to think about exactly what I'm going to say and how I'm going to say it. And the easiest way I know how to do that is in a song. So,
and you know what?
Everyone's got their position.
Your song,
today.
Your songs fuel, your song will bring me life and speak life back into me and make me just
fuel you up. Yeah, get you ready.
yeah, ready to go again. You know what I mean? So again,
it.
it's a sisterhood, man. It's a sisterhood. I love it. Love it.
Well, ladies, to the audience, there is a survey that if you could just fill it in, there is a link to it in the chat, but it's also come in with the emails that I sent out to you today, telling you where to get your books from. Have a look on there. It will take you 2 minutes just to fill that in. Just a little bit of background about how you enjoyed the event and what you thought about it and whether we can do anything better in the future. There was a polling thing up there, but I should have told you earlier. Oh no, you have been doing it. Oh, brilliant. Thank you to everybody that's kind of put into that, because I'll look at that afterwards. So thank you. And if we could say a quick goodbye from everybody, and I've hoped you've all enjoyed it. I hope we have made it interesting for you tonight, and if we do it again, you'll come back and enjoy with us. So I'll say bye, and ladies,
thank you everyone for joining us. Really appreciate you.
Everyone's asking for our social medias, so let's just write it in the chat. Thank you guys. I think there was so much great conversation.
Thank you. I think you've all done such an amazing job tonight. I think what you brought to us artistically was amazing, and you know, the conversation has been brilliant. It's kept it flowing. I mean, I could probably be here another hour with us chatting about this, so it's been really good.
So much questions and answers. Oh, thank you.
Thanks for having us, Tara.
No problem. Thank you.
And Leicester Libraries and Matthew.
Thank you, Leicester Library as well. Thank you, Matthew.
Yes.
Bye.
Thank you to Leicester Libraries for putting this on, because they came to Opal22 to put this together. It's a joint collaboration. So thank you, Leicester Libraries, Matthew and Marcia. You're doing an amazing job, and we will see you again soon.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.